Hello, everyone. This is Sarah Speechley, Superstar Director from Utah. Again, I will be teaching lesson 13. Hopefully I get it right this time. It's 13. Last time I said the wrong lesson, so forgive me. Anyway, today we will be talking about Home Parties 101. So basics about home parties. Now I know some of you may think, well, I really wasn't planning on doing home parties. Maybe you were thinking of more doing just online or basket parties or catalog parties kind of thing, and that's fine too. But home parties can be a lifeline to your business. And even if you are planning on doing the online, it is still good to do some home parties, just, open house style home party. It is a great way to get face-to-face interaction with people to build that customer basis. So there's 4 things I wanted to talk about today. When you're doing your party, consider four P's, okay? Preparing, planning, presenting, and post-party, okay? Those are the 4 things we will talk about. First, prepare. So when you're preparing for your party, first you want to set the date with your hostess and decide if you want to do an open house style or more of a presentation style. Now I talked about getting bookings last week. So hopefully you've already maybe set these up when you booked them, but if not, you still want to decide what type of a party you want. The presentation style is nice because you can do one presentation versus open house style, you do several presentations. But first, so preparing, you need to decide which way your hostess wants to do. I usually let it be up to the hostess. But, I can maybe sway her one way or the other if you prefer a certain way. You want to maximize exposure for your party. Therefore, choose a day that works best for most of her guests. Some people it's weekends, but some people are really busy on weekends. Some people it's Thursday nights. Others, it just depends on where they all are in their lifestyle. But usually the hostess will know when most of her friends can come. So also look at the date. When you're sending out invitations, you can do, setting up a Facebook event and blasting your contacts list is good, but it should not be the only way you invite people. Okay, think old school. Go back to the mailing or the handing out, texting. You need to get that out there, okay? Don't just do it on Facebook, because we all know you miss a lot of stuff on Facebook because it gets shuffled with all the others. So you do want to make sure. And the best way is also personally calling them. And I always recommend either have the hostess, or if you're the hostess, if it's your party, call the day of or the night before the party to remind them, or a text. If you're like me, if you're like probably a lot of us, we get busy, we forget, oh yeah, Jane told me we are having a party on this date. That date comes and goes and you'll forget unless there's a reminder. That's just human nature, we forget. It's not being annoying, it's just a friendly reminder. Also, it is important to know what to bring. So when you're preparing, before we talk about preparing, one thing you need to know before your party is know your products. Okay, some of you might be new, some of you may have been around a little while. How well do you know your products? Okay, there is this product training guide. Great tool. I highly recommend. I think if you're new, I think you got it in your starter kit. If not, you can get these in the workstation in the back office. Okay, it's just type in product training guide, and it will pull up, and you can print one off or you can buy them. I think they're like $1 or $2. I'm not sure. Can't remember how much it costs. This goes over the product and gives you hints of how to sell it and what to say. It is very useful. Here's sales tips. Each page gives you sales tips on things to say. This will help you know the product and ways to sell the product. Just an example, when you're using the diffusers, it will give you sales tips. you know, about how to sell the diffuser. Also gives you information about the diffuser. Don't feel like you have to memorize it all, but read over it and take it with you to your parties, okay? Again, you can print this out if you don't want to buy it. Talks about, here's another great example, how the Scentsy Go works, all the great features in it, okay? This is an amazing tool. This one is the fall and winter, but I think everything that's in the fall and winter is also in the spring and summer. They might be doing a new one for this spring and summer catalog, but for now, if they don't, this one has all the information. So very, very, very useful. Read this. It's kind of your go-to, and if you have questions, say, oh, that's a great idea. Let me look, okay? It's okay to not know everything at your party. Everyone doesn't expect you to be an expert, but you do want to know your product. So read through it at least once to kind of know the product. Okay, so also preparing, you want to get items for the display. Don't think this has to be huge displays or fancy displays. I never do huge and fancy displays. Yes, I do know some people that love, you know, if it's a holiday, they love to decorate it up and make it all fancy. Great, if that's what you want. But the biggest thing I want to say is don't make it too difficult that they will not want to duplicate it, okay? Another reason you want to do parties is to get recruits. If they see it being so much work, they are not going to want to sign up. You want them to be able to duplicate. You know, that wasn't too hard. I think I could do that. That is what you want them to say, okay? You don't want them to say, oh man, this is a lot of work. I don't think I could do that. So make it simple, okay? Scentsy parties do not have to be huge. They do need to be fun, but they don't need to be fancy and huge products. With your display, you can use what you just got in the starter kit. If that is all you have, that is fine, okay? That gives you enough things to at least show. I personally, if you do have a few other things on hand, I like to at least have one system to show. For example, I like to have a warmer on Scentsy on the Go, or Scentsy Go, and a diffuser, just to kind of show how they all work, because they are different systems. I also like to have a buddy or something in the kids line to show that we have kids lines. But guess what? If all you have is the warmer you got in your startup guide, that's fine too. You can always do a catalog walkthrough if you don't have the product on there. If you don't have a diffuser, you can kind of show the different diffusers in here, and it shows how it works in here too. So don't feel stressed that you have to have tons of product. Okay, some other things you need to have: catalogs, order forms. This is something I like to do. I highlight my order forms so they know where to put their information, okay? For some reason, if you highlight it, they're more likely to write in it. So I always make sure to highlight the name, address, email, and phone number, because I want that information. Also, some other things I like to put in, these are optional, is like a wish list, okay? Why a wish list? Because then they can write down all the stuff they want, and when they come up to you to check out, you can say, wow, you got a lot of things on your wish list. Maybe we should do a party so you can get some of this stuff free or half off, okay? If they have a good long wish list, that's a good idea. Or ask if you can keep the wish list and send it to their spouse for Valentine's or holidays or Christmas or whatnot. Or take a picture of it and put it in your notes. Another thing that I like, instead of a wish list, you can kind of choose, is the Like It, Love It papers. This just has all the little scents on there, because we all know we go through the scents and we're like, oh, I love this one. Oh, I like this one. This one's, nah, I don't like this one. And then you've kind of forgotten which ones you liked and didn't like, and you have to go through it all again. So this way you can kind of mark off. Like it, love it, not for me. And this has all the scents on there. I usually do a door prize too, to get information. If you watch the booking one, I think it's back here. Sorry, I'm gonna reach behind. Paper was back there instead of this side. You do want somehow to get information from them other if they don't order. So make sure to have either an order form, or I think I told you about this last week, how I do themed parties to get them excited, and then I put their information here. This is a game I sometimes do to get their information. I usually do this at the very beginning to while people are still coming. But you want to get their information. Gotta get that, because you want to follow up with them. We talked about fortune in the follow-up last week. That is why you need their information to follow up. If you do not follow up, it's kind of pointless to get customers, because if you're not following up, your business kind of flops. They're not going to keep coming back and ordering unless you follow up. It's just the nature of the business. Okay, so those are some of the things that you need to get ready for the party. Other things, booking and recruiting packets or information packets. Always, always, always have those when you go to parties. Always, always. Whether you do the booking bags or just hostess packets, recruiting packets, always have some at the party. Have several. Okay. Samples. If you guys want to hand out samples, you can do that. I usually give out little samples. Sometimes I do washer with samples. Sometimes I do lotion samples. That's up to you. But it's nice to have a sample. That way they also get your information too to take home. And if you do your own party, you might want to provide snacks. Now, if you're doing it for someone, maybe the hostess will be providing the snacks, but it is something nice to have for a party. Don't overthink it. Don't stress about your party. Really, it's supposed to be fun and simple. You guys can do this. These parties are not, Scentsy parties are not too hard. The more you do it, the easier it will get. Okay, planning is the next. So planning, I'm thinking like setup planning. If it's at your house, setting it up, or if you're at the hostess. Again, it doesn't need to be a lot of stuff. I usually try to get everything set up in a half hour. I think if it's taking more than that, maybe you're doing too much. Make it easy. You don't want it to be too much work. So half hour is what I usually set. I tell the hostess I'll be there half hour to set up. So set up, simple, keep it simple. If you are nervous, remember one thing I like to do if I get at the beginning when I was doing parties and I'd get nervous up there talking, turn to the catalog. Do a catalog walkthrough. A lot of consultants do that anyway. You can just kind of walk through the catalog. So it shows you, here we have different types of scents, and you can just walk through. Here's how the Scentsy Go works, kind of walk through it, and here's the fragrances and the scents. Here's some of the warmers. Here's the Combine and Save package. Here's our diffusers, our oils. If you get stressed or nervous and you don't know what to say, you can always turn to the catalog. It's kind of like a fallback for me if I'm too nervous. Again, it gets easier. One thing I like to do is I put out balloons on the mailbox or out front, so people driving by or neighbors, it kind of reminds them, oh yeah, so-and-so's having a party, I need to get to that. And also I put a sign on the door, come on in, kind of a welcoming, make it more of a welcoming environment. Again, those are optionals, just something I like to do. Okay, presenting. Briefly talk about the systems, okay? If you want to talk about each, the warmer, diffuser, Scentsy Go, kids line, on the go, those are the, you could talk about the clean and the laundry. Those are kind of the main things that may need a little explaining. Then the smells, they like to just smell. That's the funnest part with a party. Do a brief presentation, and then let them get to smell. That's what they're there for. They want to smell all the different scents, see which ones they like, interact. But talk to them throughout the party. So do your little spill, make it short. If you do it too long, people are going to check out. It's going to get boring. If you want to do it with games, you can do that. I've done the passing around. Every time you say scent, they pass a scent circle around and it goes around. I'm explaining the product while playing a game. And usually I just pass around a little scent circle or a card bar, and I go through the product. I go through host opportunity, It takes about 2-3 minutes, and it was a quick, fast spill. So it's a great opportunity to talk about everything. Also, in your presentation, make sure to talk about bookings. So we talked about how to get bookings last time. There's lots of different fun games, booking games, but you want to somehow talk about booking. If not, your party ends and you're done. If you talk about bookings, if you get bookings, you're going to get 1 or 2 bookings with that. And then at those, you're going to get 1 or 2. Your business continues. Okay, bookings are what keep your business going. So make sure to talk about bookings. Whether you do, we talked about the booking hostess stacking, where you stack or just set it on the table, show everything you would get for an average $500 party. It's a great way to get bookings. Also talk about recruiting. So at parties, there's 4 things I like to bring up when I'm doing my recruiting spill. I always like to do the recruiting spill, I call it the mid-commercial, in the middle of the party. Okay, I usually kind of separate it a little from the presentation, but I do kind of get up and I make sure everyone hears it. And there's 4 things I like to talk about. Only takes a minute or 2, but there's 4 things. 1, what attracted you to the Scentsy business? 2, what were your fears or what were you nervous about signing up? 3, how is your life better from signing up? And 4, what you love most about being a Scentsy consultant. Now, the reason I like to talk about all 4 of those things is because at least one of those someone will be able to relate with. You know, if my fear was talking in front of people, someone in the audience will be like, oh yeah, I have that fear too, but look, she's up there and she's doing it. Or maybe I can talk about how I've been able to take my family on vacations, or how I've earned fun vacations with Scentsy. Maybe that was how my life's getting better, or one of the best things about being a Scentsy consultant. People may like, oh, I want to be able to travel. I want to do that. So if you talk about all 4, you will be more likely to relate with someone there will be able to relate with one of those. And hopefully then you can talk about recruiting, or at least give them a recruiting packet, something to think about. As people are checking out, don't be afraid to upsell. Ask them if they'd like to host a party or if they're interested in joining. Again, I don't ask very bluntly. I ask, subtly. Oh, you have a huge wish list. Maybe have you ever thought of doing a party? We could get some of this at half off and free product, or you have a lot of other connections at work. Maybe you could do a catalog party or a basket party. Kind of throughout the party, listen to people, listen to things that might help them or help you know how to help them, whether it's hosting or joining. Oh, you said you work and you hate working long hours, or you don't like driving, or you want to be home with your kids. Have you ever thought about doing Scentsy? I mean, just think of it. Another way is always giving a compliment. You would be a great Scentsy consultant, or you would be a great Scentsy hostess. With upselling, looking at their list, if they have 4 bars listed, upsell to a 6-pack. If you buy 1 more, it's like buy 5 get 1 free. Or you already have 1 warmer and 6 bars. If you get 1 more warmer, you can get it at this price using the combine and saves. So when you're checking out, kind of talk with them, make it upselling, hosting, and joining as you're checking out. The last is post-party. Okay, just because the party is over does not mean it's closed. Make sure the hostess contacts everyone who she invited that did not come, and contacts them. Say, hey, we really missed you at the Scentsy party that I had. Just checking to see if there's anything you want to order before I close out my party. A lot of times, I think every time I've had a hostess do this, we get several orders. So make sure she does that, because it will up her PRV for the party, which then ups her getting more free and half off items. Also, ask the host, say, remember, anyone who books a party from you get an additional half off when they hold their party. So ask, well, since you couldn't come to my party, would you be interested in holding a party? Okay, if the hostess feels comfortable, great. It gives her more half-offs. The other thing with after parties is follow-up. We talked about the fortunes in the follow-up. Diane talked about that last week. It truly is. After the party, go through all their information, whether you got it on the order form, a drawing slip, on your game slips. Go through and follow up. She talked about that. Just make sure to do it. Now you got these customers. If you treat them and you follow up with them, treat them well, they will continue to order from you. The great thing about Scentsy is they're going to come back. They're going to want more scents. That's one of the great things about it. There's other companies out there, once you bought it, you're done. Scentsy, they will keep coming back. They will want more. They need to refill. So keep that customer information and follow up. So that's a party, okay? It doesn't have to be complicated. Have fun. Make it fun, and they will want to book, and they will want to join you next time. Don't stress. Have fun. There's Party 101. Thanks, guys. Bye.